ChatGPT. Relate ACIM to the movie Precious. Precious through the lens of A Course in Miracles. Precious is a deeply challenging and ultimately inspiring story about abuse, shame, self-worth, forgiveness, identity, and the discovery of inner strength. Through the lens of A Course in Miracles, ACM, it becomes a profound exploration of the difference between what has happened to us and what we truly are. At its heart, the movie asks, can innocence still be found beneath years of pain and trauma? ACM answers, nothing that happens in the world can alter the innocence God created. The false identity. For much of the story, Precious sees herself through the lens of the messages she has received from others. Unworthy, powerless, broken, unlovable. The ego builds identity from the past. ACIM teaches that every self-concept is false because our true identity was created by God and remains untouched by worldly events. The movie powerfully illustrates this conflict. The weight of shame. Shame is one of the dominant emotions throughout the film. The ego uses shame to keep the mind trapped in self-condemnation. ACM teaches that guilt and shame are the foundation of the ego's thought system. The movie vividly portrays the suffering that arises from believing these thoughts. The call for love. The abusive behavior portrayed in the story can be viewed through one of ACM's central teachings. Every expression is either love or a call for love. This does not excuse harmful behavior, but it does help explain the fear, pain, and confusion beneath it. The movie repeatedly exposes the devastating consequences of unanswered calls for love. Awakening to worth. One of the most beautiful aspects of the film is Precious gradually discovering her own value, not because circumstances suddenly improve, but because she begins seeing herself differently. ACM teaches that healing begins when we question the judgments we have accepted about ourselves. The movie beautifully reflects this process. Education as awakening. Learning becomes symbolic in the film. Reading, writing, finding a voice, expressing truth. ACIM teaches that awakening is ultimately about learning to perceive differently. The movie beautifully uses education as a metaphor for expanding awareness. Relationships as mirrors. Several people enter Precious's life who reflect a different possibility: compassion, encouragement, acceptance. ACIM teaches that healing relationships help reveal what has always been true beneath the ego's stories. The movie beautifully demonstrates this healing function. The courage to leave the past. The ego constantly attempts to preserve old identities, old wounds, old narratives. ACM teaches that the past has no power except the power we continue to give it. The movie powerfully illustrates the courage required to move beyond old conditioning. Forgiveness and healing. ACIM's forgiveness is not about pretending abuse did not occur. It is about refusing to let the past define the truth of who we are. The movie points toward this deeper healing, not through denial, but through reclaiming identity beyond victimhood. The light within. Despite everything she endures, something within Precious remains alive. Hope, strength, dignity, the desire for something more. ACIM teaches that the light of Christ remains untouched beneath every illusion. The movie beautifully reflects this truth. The central reflection. The ego watches Precious and asks, how can I overcome what happened to me? How can I escape my past? How can I become worthy? The Holy Spirit watches Precious and asks, what if my worth was never lost? Viewed through ACM, the movie becomes a powerful lesson about innocence, healing, and the rediscovery of true identity. Precious's journey symbolizes the mind awakening from years of false beliefs about itself. The deepest message may be, the ego teaches that suffering defines us and that the past determines our future. The Holy Spirit teaches that no experience can alter the truth of what God created. Healing begins when we stop identifying with the wounds of the past and begin recognizing the light that has remained untouched beneath them. Innocence is not something to be earned. It is something to be remembered. Go to mwgee.org to find a brief write-up by David Hoffmeister.